I've waited a damn long time for this movie. Welcome back, everybody. So my first movie review for a while, and it begins with Wonder Woman 1984. So I went into this movie with some quite high hopes, I have to be honest with you. I really did. I was really looking forward to it. I had the opportunity to watch this movie first thing this morning, and I can honestly tell you that I was not disappointed in any way, shape or form, okay? I really got a lot of enjoyment from this, and if you want to know the reasons why I enjoy this movie, the review is coming up right about now. So here we go, Wonder Woman 84 movie review. Again, this second installment in the Wonder Woman franchise was once again directed by Patty Jenkins. The cast of this movie consists of Gal Gadot as Diana Prince and Wonder Woman. We also got the return of Chris Pine as Steve Trevor. We also got Kristen Wiig as Barbara and Cheetah. We've also got Pedro Pascal as Maxwell Lord, plus many others. Now this second installment is set in 1984 during the Cold War, and we follow Diana, aka Wonder Woman, and her former or old lover, Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine, as they face off against Maxwell Lord and Cheetah. Now as far as plot is concerned, that is about as much in depth as I can go without giving away spoilers. So I'm going to try, this is a non-spoiler review, so I'm going to do my best not to let any spoilers slip out in any way, shape or form. I'm also a little bit nervous for this movie review because it's the first one I've done in a few months, so I do apologise. I'm a little bit rusty. So let's get into this. I can honestly tell you that I did get quite a lot of enjoyment from this movie. Now, I actually enjoyed the first movie more than I do this second installment. That's not to say that this second movie is bad. I still really enjoyed this movie a lot. You get to see a different side of Diana Prince and Wonder Woman in this one. In the first one, you had that kind of vulnerable kind of side, that confusion, different world kind of scenario. In this one, you've got a more of a mature Diana Prince and Wonder Woman. It feels it doesn't feel very different, but it does feel different in the respect that she has grown and she has lived in human life for I don't know how many 50 to 60 odd years. There is a different difference from the first one to the second one. Again, it's not a bad thing because I generally really enjoyed what they did. Plot in this movie, okay, isn't the best in the world. It is a little bit predictable, I have to be honest, and it feels like it's slightly out of place or even not even there in certain areas. That being said, it never took my attention away from the movie as such. I was always glued to the movie. I never took my eyes off it, and I still enjoyed exactly what I was seeing. Performances in this movie, again, I actually really enjoyed. I generally did. Like I said, you get to see a more of a mature kind of Diana Prince in here and Wonder Woman, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Her performance in this is absolutely fantastic in every single way, especially towards the end of this movie, okay? There is probably from about midway through to the end of this movie, you get to see a very different side of Wonder Woman, and you get to see a lot more of emotion from her, and I generally liked what they did. And this is like the same with Chris Pine returning as Steve Trevor. Again, I'm not going to give that away on how he returns. Again, it's not going to be hard to figure out as soon as you get into this movie. About 10-15 minutes into this movie, you start figuring out how he's going to come back. Like I said, it's just part of the storyline, or like I said, that the plot line in this is a little bit predictable. But again, those two characters' chemistry on screen, I actually really enjoyed. Again, they had it in the first one and they managed to carry it on in the second one. I absolutely love those two on screen together in this movie. It's absolutely fantastic, mixed with some emotions, some sad moments. I loved what they did here. I really did. There's a great sacrifice kind of scene in here where there's a lot of emotion running around, and I think they play it off fantastic. I really do. And you get behind the characters, and this is what I love. You get behind the characters, and that's even Kristen Wiig's character as Barbara and Cheetah. I think out of all the movie, she is by far the best performance out of the whole of this movie. Cheetah in here, or Kristen Wiig's character or performance in this, I think is absolutely brilliant. Downside is you don't get to see a huge amount of Cheetah as such or in true form. That is the downside, because she is one hell of a villain in this one, and she is a hell of a force to be messed with in here, and I seriously enjoyed her character all the way through this movie. You get to see massive character development with her character throughout the whole of this movie. The change, I think, is absolutely brilliant. I love what she did. She's seriously attractive in this movie, and she just gets better and better and better. And it got me to the point where I wanted to see more of her. But then, with seeing more of her then spoil it, I think they might have got the correct balance. She also adds a very good comedic element at the beginning of this movie. There are some great comedic moments in here as well. I'm just going slightly off point, but as I was talking about it, I think it worked really, really well. She is a force to be reckoned with in this movie. And the only downside is that I reckon she could have given more, but I also have to think to myself, if they gave us more, would that have actually spoiled it a little bit? I'm not sure. We're never really going to know. All I want to know is I'd love to see her come back, and I would. And I'm not trying not to give too much away here, but there's something that you don't see in this movie. I'm not going to give anything away, but I would love to see her come back again. I really, really would. I think it'd be worthy for her to come back. Going on to Pedro Pascal as Maxwell Lord's character. He is like the main villain in this movie. And yet, he sometimes feels like a villain and other times doesn't. He's just trying to do good as such, or trying to do something, or trying to be somebody which he can't be without certain things working into his favor. I generally liked his character in here. He's not the best performance in this movie, okay? I do generally like him throughout the whole of this movie, but I still truly believe that Christina Wiig's character in here is probably the real standout kind of character in this movie for me. I have to be honest. But again, I generally liked his character. I liked what they were doing with this. Again, I'm trying not to go into spoilers, which is really, really difficult because I can't explain too much about his character as such without giving too many spoilers away. But I generally liked him as a villain. There is so much that I want to talk about, and I'm trying to cram this down into such a short time. Like I said, performance is absolutely fantastic. Again, you get the exactly the same chemistry between Gadot and Chris Pine as you did in the first one. Kristen Wiig's character in this, I think, is absolutely fantastic. I wanted to see a lot more of her. Formidable force for Wonder Woman in this, absolutely fantastic in every single way. It's exactly the same as Maxwell Lord, played by Pedro Pascal. I generally liked his character. I just can't go too into depth with this character without giving away too many spoilers. Other parts of this movie I liked. I generally liked the colouring, the way that this was shot. There were some great action scenes in this as well. The only downside with some of the action scenes is some of the CGI effects in here what I felt were a little bit off and a little bit rushed by the looks of it, and they were very, very noticeable in my personal opinion. That being said, it wasn't enough to spoil the movie. I like the soundtrack in this. I just generally it was an entertaining 2.5 hours for me. And there was just so much that I enjoyed from this movie. I really, really did. And I got a lot from this. Yes, like I said, I don't enjoy this movie as much as I do the first one. But the gap between the first and second is very, very marginal. It's just the only reason why I enjoy the first one so much is because you get an origin story to her character. And again, you get to see so much. I don't know what it is with Patty Jenkins' filmmaking style, but I just really enjoy it. I really, really do, and I love what she does with this. And I love what they did with this movie. It's full of emotional moments in here. There's some funny moments in this movie as well. But there's a lot even the emotional moments you get behind the characters. You even get behind the villains a little bit because there is a motive to what they're trying to do as such. And I just, even though you know that the villains are, they are the villains, you still somehow get behind their characters because they've got a motivation behind them. And it's exactly the same as the heroes. They got a motivation to stop it, and they know what they're trying to do. And I just found this movie extremely entertaining, a lot of fun. I could quite happily sit down there and watch this movie again, and I'm half tempted to. And there was, before I actually finish this review and actually give it a rating, there is a great little setup here as well, which I wasn't going to mention because I was going to let everybody kind of figure it out. And if you haven't figured it out, you probably have, because it is pretty much all over YouTube and the internet. There is a cracking setup for a post-credit scene in here, which really just added the cherry on top of this movie. I think it was a very, very well done setup post-credit scene, and I actually really enjoyed that. And I was actually very surprised by this. And I just thought it was a great added addition. It was just like putting the cherry on top of the cake. And I was just like, that's cool. I actually really enjoyed it. It's just so much I enjoyed from this movie, honest to God. And if I was going to give this a rating, so I gotta give this a strong 9 out of 10. Now the only reason why I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 and not a 10 out of 10 is because, again, I enjoy the first one more than I do the second one. That being said, the second one is not a bad movie. It's just that I enjoyed the origin story from the first one. You get on a bit of an emotional roller coaster in the second installment, which just makes it even more enjoyable for me. There's sacrifices in here. There's a lot of emotion that runs with this, and the end of this movie made me feel good. I just was entertained throughout the whole of this movie, even though there are a couple of problems with this movie, which I picked up on. And there's probably be more if I watch it again. But I just found myself severely entertained by this movie at the end of this movie. And this is the reason why I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. So on that note, please tell me what you think. Put it in the comments down below. As normal, I hope you all have a great rest of the day, whatever you're doing. Please take care and goodbye.